So HDR is one of those acronyms I think that you didn't explain. Is in order to be able to be a PhD supervisor, you need to have this habilitation à diriger les recherches, so some sort of accreditation to supervise research and to get PhD students. Basically, this is 3 years. And this is a full-time job, and you can teach. So it's a full-time research job, but you can teach up to 60 hours. And sometimes it can be extended, but no longer than 6 years, right? I mean, and this is really, I mean, the average is more like 3 years and a couple of months, like 3 and then a trimester in general, when you, because you want to finish still anyway. And so you need to have at least one HDR, here it is again, so the French habilitation for supervising research, PhD supervisor, and you can have several supervisors. And actually, if you apply for a PhD in France, I would advise you to have several. But I'll come back to that later. And then you have, at least in Rennes, I don't know if it's a national regulation, but you have to follow some courses. But the courses you follow, you don't have to succeed. You don't take exams. You just have to attend those courses. So it's very different from what you have for. At least in computer science, you would not be able to register to a PhD if you don't have financial support. So that's the doctoral school, and then you have the professors on the other hand. And so the idea is, together with the professors, manage and some institution, whatever, manage to find some foundings. Otherwise, I mean, the doctoral schools, at least in computer science, is not going to allow you to register. So this is the tricky point. So you have some training, as I said. Attendance is mandatory to be able to defend, but again, as far as I know, you don't have to take the exam, right? Just attend. You need at least one high-level international publication, not something like a small workshop and with the friend of your supervisors, a really international something, and this is very strict. And depending on the field, it's either a journal or a conference. I mean, in computer science, conferences are so tough to get into, I mean, the good ones, and journal takes so long to get into that conferences are accepted. In mathematics, you really need a journal publication, and it depends on the field, right? So, and do you have that also, the suivi de thèse? Okay, so the supervision committee, I don't know how to translate, is called Comité de suivi de thèse. So the idea is that sometimes, you know, you're in deadlock with your supervisors, and it's good to have some other people to look into what's happening and to help you either to stop because it shouldn't go on, or just to help solve some problems. So this is a new thing, at least for us in computer science, and I wish I had a couple of PhD before, but anyway, and so that I think it's a very good mechanism to help everybody. So I will give the presentation to whoever is in charge, and so for example, the doctoral schools that INSA is co-accredited with is MathSTIC, so mathematical computer science, telecommunication, material science, chemistry, physics, and so in any case, if you go here, you have a list of proposal for PhDs, and then you have all the information about all these doctoral schools in Brittany. So if you go for doctorate in France or somewhere else, but I mean, I'm talking about what I know. I mean, like, basically, I'm talking like if you would come to do a doctorate with me, but I suppose it can be extended to a bit larger frame. So it is a great adventure. It's wonderful. I mean, doing research is so fantastic. Because, I mean, that's probably the only time in your entire life where you can really concentrate in depth in something so interesting and stimulating and have your brain like, wow. So that's fantastic. And at the end of it, the person, the most competent in the world on your topic, it's a topic about that size, but you're the most competent. And it doesn't last very long, but at least at the moment you defend, well, okay. I mean, at least you should be, otherwise you should not defend. But, okay. And of course, you will have quite a lot of knowledge. And I think that's the main point, right? And you will have gained working experience. I mean, especially in France, it's really, I mean, PhD is the first professional experience, really. And then, first of all, I mean, a real professional experience. I mean, some people like me been working before doing the PhD, but it's really a working experience. So you will have made a contribution to science, otherwise you're not supposed to defend. And you will have gained the recognition of your peers, which is great. And I didn't write down that you get the degree, right? I mean, it's a byproduct. It's not important, I mean, to my point of view. I mean, you should not go and do a PhD just to get the degree. Because what? Because, I mean, you need a lot of motivation, a lot of involvement, a lot of enthusiasm, pugnacity, because, I mean, sometimes you know, for 2 weeks you're struggling, you're turning run and have no new idea and you don't know how to get out of it. And if you're really not motivated, this is really tough. Okay, autonomy, I mean, Eleonore mentioned that, I mean, in France, I mean, it's not that your director, the supervisor is going to tell you, this week you do this, next week you do that. Not at all. I mean, you really need to be self-motioned, okay? And humility is because, as I said, well, you're dealing with this, but that big, and you need to be at the same time, have this plenty of humility and to be bold, like to say, okay, humility because, I mean, I say other people have been doing things. Yes, but I have these ideas and I believe in my ideas and I dig into it, even though nobody is going to tell me if it's good or not until I have gone far enough, okay? And then, of course, this means a lot of hours. So it's really a full-time job. And so your supervisor is exactly there for you. First of all, to help you find an interesting mountain. Because, I mean, if you feel like, oh, I'm the best in the world, so I'm devising my own research topic, and I know exactly what I want to do. Oops. Discuss with people. Because, I mean, you might have great idea, and you might have this very good intuition where you should research, but probably your supervisor knows better there, right? It's going to tell you, yeah, this mountain used to be a very hot topic, but that was 20 years ago. So now you should better go there. Oh, I don't understand the word. Yeah, okay, that's normal. That's normal because if it's a new mountain, and then when especially the one that go for natural, exact and natural science, I mean, when you look at the authors, you don't understand the word, right? They go like, I don't understand the word either. I mean, if I go so you need to investigate, you need to dig, and you need to figure what it is about. Okay, so anyway, so your supervisor is going to help you to find the interesting mountain. And then because he knows better, he's going to take you like this and put it close to the top, right? I mean, if you have a bad supervisor, you have to climb it from the bottom and all on your own. Whereas, I mean, if you have a good supervisor, it's sort of like a helicopter. I mean, you still have to climb at some point, right? And then go up and down, but still I will help you, all right? Okay, and then from time to time, I mean, they will also rescue you from the, you know, this deep water where you're looking for the stone and you say, oh, no, okay, okay, stop. All right, too bad. We thought it was a good idea, but it's not, so hopla, go somewhere else. And so you really need a supervisor. Yeah, so validation of your claim is absolutely mandatory. Theoretical, so plenty of math, for example, computer science can be, or very experimental, a lot of computing, or in between. And another point I wanted to tell you is writing is not optional. And it's not something like, you're a genius and you produce these wonderful things, and after 2 years and 3/4 of a year, 2 years and 3/4, you start writing, and it goes like, no. So you have this small thing, you write about it, you submit it to a conference. It's not like publication is an indicator of the value of your research, but it's also because it's mandatory to write, because it's mandatory to explicitly set what your ideas are, what you have done, is there a contribution to confrontate with other people and everything. So it's really, really crucial. And those people that come and do PhD and say, well, I will write later, no. If you hate to write, do something about it. I mean, if you hate to write and you really want to do a PhD, then go for a, right? And this is very difficult at the beginning, very difficult. You never know which level you should write about. And this is exactly another place where your supervisor is and should be a big help. In general, the first thing that my students write, it comes back in 4 colors, annotated everywhere, right? And you can hardly read anything anymore. But that's just normal. So I'm usually showing the previous guy's first paper to say, oh, don't be desperate. This is just normal. That would be very bad for you if it would come with no annotation. No annotation means either this is perfect, but that happens. It happened to me once, right? Actually, one of my PhD students, he produced a PhD, and I thought, oh my goodness, wow. Nothing to say. Happened to me once, right? And most of the time, if you have no annotation, it's because it's really bad. So you want to get annotations. Okay, and writing crucial. Okay, and okay, so one thing which is, I mean, that's the end of the presentation, and it's a bit not the same level of, but in computer science research, you have a broad range of research topics, fundamental and applied. And moreover, it's one of those fields, and not the only one, of course, but where you can get non-academic jobs at the end. So it's really opening fields. And then, in general, the job that you get with a PhD in computer science are more interesting. It's also that you are more demanding because you know what interesting means, because you've been through 3 years of a very intensive, exciting process, so you don't want to get a lousy job. So sometimes it takes them maybe a bit longer to get the job, but in general it's more interesting. And I think that's the last one, almost. So if you go for a PhD, you have to make sure that you start for the proper reason, right? Concentrating on project, getting competencies, having knowledge, doing things exciting. I mean, the title of doctor is a byproduct and should not be your first aim.